Hello everyone, today I'm going to look at the clip from the Daily Heretic. There's an interview with Dr. Ibrahim, Raymond Abraham, about Iran, and today I'm going to fact check it. I actually like Dr. Ibrahim. I love his stuff when he talks about Islam, especially early days of Islam and golden age of Islam, what he thinks of golden age of Islam, which he actually talks about the Persian influence on golden age of Islam, and can you even call it golden age of Islam or not? I like those stuff, and I think because he's a historian, but I think when it comes to contemporary Iran, I think he gets a few things wrong. I'm going to go through this is a 9 minutes clip. I'm going to go through some part of it, which I think it's not exactly accurate. Okay, let's start.
What's happened in Iran? So there was a Shah, then there's this. What's gone on?
Yeah, as far as the minute to minute thing, I don't think anyone knows. There seems to be a kind of a clampdown, which makes sense during war. You don't want to actually say what's going on, but the Shah, of course, is the original guy who was secular, and it's his son that I think the U.S. is supporting and trying to supplant and bring him in.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Reza Pahlavi, it's not clear if the US is actually supporting. He has a lot of support in Iran and he has a lot of support in Diaspora, but I think there is a bit of I don't know if it's on purpose to distance yourself from the candidate, because he might be viewed as a puppet otherwise, or it could be they just don't like him. But it hasn't been any direct support of him, even though he is probably the obvious choice when it comes to having a leader for the future of Iran, due to his popularity, due to how people were chanting his name during the January protests, and when he called for people in diaspora to come out. In one day, I think it was more than 1 million people all around the world came out for his call. I can't say fully in his support. I think some people support him for just being a transitional leader for a couple of years. Some people actually want him to be the king, like a constitutional monarchy or some sort of monarchy. Or some people just want him to be president. But I think we can say overall, it is just the first step to having him as a transitional leader, try to have sort of a short-term government to set things up for the future of Iran. So yeah, he is quite popular, I would say. You can do your own research as well. I will do a video on that too. But yeah.
And Iran's, the history of Iran and its actual, who it is, it's so different than most of the Muslim world. It's very, very different. So first of all, it's the only nation that got conquered very early, but it kept its language, which is very bizarre. Okay. All the other countries, my people, the Copts of Egypt, they had their own language. It's the Coptic language, it's the Pharaonic language. It exists only in the liturgy in church. It's not a spoken language anymore. That
far be it from me to correct Dr. Ibrahim, but parts of Iran got conquered early. That is true, but I think the northern part, especially the northern part, it took, I'm not sure, 80 years, 100 years, that they were still independent, and they finally got conquered, but it was more gradual. Like there was a big chunk that was conquered, but there was some other parts that was gradual, and when they got the chance, they separated from the Khalifa, the Islamic Khalifa, as soon as they could.
Their Imam means like the great leader, who's sort of almost like an immaculate. He's a descendant of Muhammad ultimately, right. Through his daughter Fatima and Ali. And Iran's a 12er Shia. They have numbers. There's 5er, 7. 12er means the 12th Imam is the one that disappeared, and he's still alive. I think he disappeared around 800 or 900, and he's gonna come back. Okay, right. So very, very mystical, esoteric. And the Ayatollah, Ayatollah means like the miracle of Allah. Okay, it's A as the same word for verse, which is like, anyway, he's like his representative. Now the issue, what's interesting about all,
I'm just being now. It's not my fault. I can't speak Arabic, so I shouldn't even stop here. But I think ayat means sign rather than some sign of Allah. Maybe. I'm not sure.
This is the eschatological component of Shia Islam gives cause to pause, especially when we talk about nuclear weapons, because their end days deal with this Mahdi figure. And it means the guided one, and also he's going to help bring the hidden Imam. Okay, but to do that, there has to be a cataclysmic showdown with the enemies of Islam, in this case Shia Islam, which are named, we know them, the two great Satans, all right? Israel and...
I'm not sure if he meant Mahdi is the hidden Imam, so he's not going to help bring the hidden Imam. I think maybe he meant the end, maybe I misunderstood, but the end of time. The end of times will bring Mahdi back. And a lot of things happened that when we were in school, it was explained to us, but I don't think many Iranians know exactly. They know that, there's a hidden Imam that will show up at some point. And a lot of things happens. There's a lot of details that, we don't think it's imminent, so nobody really bothers learning the details. Having said that, but the way the world is going,
America. So that's why when you think of nuclear powers, you usually think of the balance of powers. It's a deterrence. You have it, I have it. No one's going to use it. The mentality of this group, Iran, is a little more risque, because they might use something like that to usher in the day they've all been waiting for, which is when the great Imam returns. And this isn't just my...
As much as I hate the Islamic Republic, I must say they love this world and they love the oil profit too much to, let it all end. So they would see nuclear weapon more of as a deterrence and just as a safety to stay in power for hundreds of years. They might even use it. I don't know. You can't trust them, certainly, but I say they are not actually suicidal. They are, and if they're fighting right now, it's because they think they haven't got any other way to survive. The population hate them, outside world hate them, so they're just fighting their way out of some sort of deal, to get to some sort of deal.
My theory, a lot of scholarly papers have been written about that particular aspect of that, and it really permeates especially the Islamic Republican Guard Corps, which is in charge of Iran. And honestly, the taking out of the Ayatollah, I don't know how good that was. I think they were counting on a decapitation strike, which to my knowledge has never worked. But they've made a martyr.
So one thing Dr. Ibrahim actually said correctly as well is IRGC is actually an Islamic Republic Guard Corps, and there's no Iran in it, and that's one of the ironic things, that the main force hasn't got the name Iran in it, and it goes to show how much they actually care about the Iranians and the population. It's more of a force of Islam and the Ummah rather than Iran is just a vessel for the larger plan.
Of him, and it's, if anything, it seems, again, depending on who you talk to, but it seems like it may be galvanizing a significant portion of the Iranian people.
So it's a weird country then, because you've got this country, as you said, that doesn't have Arabic. It hasn't. So it seems like it's almost more secular at the first glance.
Well, that's the thing. The people are supposedly very secular, but they're governed by this mullah, the theocracy. But there's also, a sort of relationship. He's like this nice grandfatherly figure, and we respect him, and that's why I don't think smart to kill him. What?
I don't know if it was smart to kill him or not. But the reasoning definitely can't be because he was a lovable grandpa. But this is the main part I have an issue with. And a lot of people, I think Dr. Abraham also mentions it, that, he was just 86 years old or 87 years old and he had cancer. What was the point? And it galvanized people, even maybe some of the seculars. No, he was very much hated by the majority of Iranians. I mean, I'll show you the videos, like have a look at these videos. These are videos inside Iran when they hear Khamenei have died. It is outside Iran when Iranians hear Khamenei has died, and they're all celebrating his death. And imagine celebrating inside Iran. Actually, a few people were shot by the besiegers for celebrating.
خدایا انگار یه بارم برای ایرانیا وجود داشتی خدایا شکره خدایا شکره هیچ اتفاقی نمیتونست اینقدر مردم رو خوشحال کنه خدایا
So, yeah, they're completely wrong. Maybe at some point he was viewed as someone who is above fray. Maybe before 2009 election, when the whole Green Movement happened and when the protests happened, I vividly remember we were waiting for Khamenei to have his speech, and a lot of people were thinking he'll just say like, yeah, let's do the election again. Maybe there was something going wrong. But no, he doubled down and said like, if anyone carry on protesting, the result is the result. And if anyone carry on protesting or anyone call for protests, anyone dying, it's on your conscience.
زورآزمایی خیابانی بعد از انتخابات کار درستی نیست. بلکه به چالش کشیدن اصل انتخابات و اصل مردم سالاری است. من از همه میخوام به این روش خاتمه بدم. این روش درستی نیست. اگر خاتمه ندم، اون وقت مسئولیت تبعات اون، هرج و مرج اون به عهده اونهاست.
It's basically saying, if you come out, we'll shoot you, and you know, we already said it. And from there, people started. Before that, hardly ever people shouted slogan against Khamenei directly, but right after that, it started. 2009 started, 2017, then it was just normalized and just got worse and worse. Where last year, I'll show you this funny video that because they started calling him Ali the Rat because he was hiding because of all the bombings. I don't know how much truth was to that, but that's what everyone was saying, that he was hiding away because he wasn't appearing in public for a long period of time, and he was like sending messages from somewhere, some room, during the 12 Days War. So he started having the nickname Ali the Rat, and as you can see here in this video, students in university are actually putting a noose on a rat and trying to execute the rat. And it's not an actual rat, it's just a doll. And it's funny that the pro-regime students, they are just besiegers acting, pretending to be students. They're trying to get the rat off the tree, and the way they are taking it too seriously, it's actually quite funny. It got to a point that it was just called Ali the Rat, so there was no respect for him. There was no viewing of him as a spiritual leader. He was viewed as very corrupt, as being a hypocrite, as someone who didn't take responsibility for when he was saying like, let's negotiate. Like, he never said let's negotiate with US, but he sort of let people negotiate with the US, and then if it didn't work, he would say blame the people underneath, and if it worked, like he would take the credit. So he was that sort of guy. And no, so it is very wrong to. This section is completely wrong. Killing him didn't make anyone feel sorry for him or change their mind. Personally, I didn't celebrate him dying because I only celebrate when Islamic Republic is actually gone and there's a free Iran. I don't think just killing one person would change that. But by the time they killed him, I would say that he had already planned things and they knew like something might happen. So they had series of people who would take the place, even the supreme leader, but take the place of all the commanders. If this one dies, this guy takes over, and this guy dies, this guy takes over. So yeah, in that sense, it definitely had an effect. It had actually on the psyche of his supporters. It's not a good thing that your leader dies on the first hour of the war, and that was sort of the sort of embarrassment as well. You're aching for a fight with the US for 47 years, and on the first hour you check out. And there was also a joke going on between Iranians, both inside and outside. He hasn't been buried yet, and especially in Islam, it's important to bury the dead quickly, and the 40th day is very important in Islam. And there's another ceremony of mourning on the 40th day. There's like the 3rd day, 7th day, and the 40th day. Well, it's almost reaching the 40th day, and he hasn't been buried yet. So there are a lot of jokes saying like, "Oi, when are you gonna bury me? Like, what is happening with my funeral?" Like, there are all these sort of memes going on, which I'd say, as much as I hate Islamic Republic, they hate me. Two, I don't like the whole joking about the corpses, joking about the dead. I believe once your enemy is gone, they're gone, and you just move on. But I don't blame people for joking about a dictator who causes the death of thousands and thousands of Iranians, and also people in Syria and so on.
What authority did he have? He was like an 80-plus-year-old man. It's not like he was the one making all the decisions. So I don't know how smart that was. If anything, that might have like pushed even the secular.
He was making a lot of decisions still. Like that was his whole shtick for 30 years. He just grabbed power and changed the constitution and grabbed more power. He just put people in places that all the check and balances were gone, and it was just him. So yeah, he was still making a lot of decisions. The
Iranians to be more supportive, kind of like, look at these people, they're treacherous, they killed this old man. So I don't know. I don't know if that was really a good move to help overall. But again, I think they were just banking on it. The whole thing's going to collapse if we kill him. I think they have to kill maybe the whole, IRC. The IRG, the Islamic Republican Guard, before that happens.
I suppose no one knows the exact numbers, but it feels like there's this real secular group of Iranians or Iranians that I've met loads of them in England, and they're always great people.
Yeah,
they're just these great people.
They are.
And then there's like super extreme Muslims.
Yeah.
But it's like those two are there.
Yeah.
And then, so how big is the super extreme?
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
And it depends on who you talk to. Some people tell me, "Oh, it's 95% they're secular, cool."
Ah.
And then I'll meet someone else. He's like, no, it's more like 60% are kind of. It's not that they're radical, but they're conservative, which means they do back the regime for heritage reasons, for pride, for honor. We're not gonna, who are these infidels to come and kill this old man? Who maybe we don't like him, but he represents us. It's that honor culture. Okay, yeah.
Is there any?
I'd say he is wrong there as well. I think Iranians have passed the honor culture to a great extent. Iranian inside Iran and outside Iran, the diaspora were asking for help from US, from Israel, and that got to that desperation of asking a foreign power for help, which it takes a lot. It takes, they tried everything. They tried reform, they tried protesting again, and they got killed. Then they got tortured. They tried again and again, and I think the straw that broke the camel's back was in January, when the killing was nothing that any Iranian had seen. The scenes that, as a nation, we saw, of bodies piling up, of blood being everywhere in the streets, that was something that couldn't be repaired. And like, it was like a social contract being broken in a way that I think the regime thought, like, let's make an example and just let's deal with it once and for all. But they miscalculated. It actually made people ashamed of being alive, ashamed of seeing their friends dying and them being alive, and once you start not caring anymore about your life, or you just want to get revenge, or you just want to get rid of the evil that is suppressing you. So there is like a threshold that the government passed, the regime passed, and it became, I guess that's a bit that you could talk about honor. Like, at some point you're like, you can suppress me this much, but you can't go to that extent. You're now thinking like, I'm never going to fight back. So no, it's not like he's our bastard. We completely understand. Many Iranians, I would say a majority of Iranians, understand that if they support him, it's not because he is our bastard. They support him because they support him, they support the regime. It's not because, oh, why a foreigner killed him. So yeah, I think this whole notion is wrong here as well. But again, I can't speak for every Iranian, but can with a great deal of certainty say that this is not the case, as Dr. Raymond Abraham describes it. So anyway, that was the video. I hope it was helpful. I'm going to do more of these fact checks of Iranian videos. I'm sure a lot of people just have good intentions, but I just like to put things into perspective. I hope this was helpful. If it was helpful, please like and subscribe. This makes me want to make more videos. Thank you.